Before we begin, a quick thank you to Filthy Heretic for drawing this background. I quit!
Don't lose your
Ow!
over this. Okay, nothing left to see here.
Hello?
Hey Mick, how are you holding up?
Hey, Doc. Mist? What should you prefer?
Either one will do. Is everything okay? You sound kind of, down.
I guess. I was wondering what to do with Skullgirls. My original idea fell through, my top 10 list idea fell through, and now I keep getting my ass beat by random strangers on the internet.
And that's what's bringing you down?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you just stop playing Skullgirls then?
I can't. It's actually fun.
It doesn't sound like you're having fun, Mick.
Yeah.
Mick,
What?
go play something you enjoy. You need a pick-me-up.
But I enjoy Skullgirls.
But you clearly don't.
I guess I'll just go read the TV tropes page for them then.
Wait, what?
Yeah, TV tropes, you know? That site that documents the conventions taken by pieces of media. That's how I got into Skullgirls to begin with.
You mean, you didn't even play the game, but you thought you would like it?
How could I not? One of the characters is Misfortune, a semi-immortal cat girl who got all hell rims cut off and uses her decapitated head and dismembered body pieces to fight. All the while, she spews cat puns and acts cute, and I love it! Hello?
Excuse me, but what in the bloody fuck?
What? We're furries. We have more fucked up shit for breakfast. Usually figuratively.
So you don't actually like the game, you just like the characters?
Oh, no. The game's great too. I just don't like losing.
Yeah, I know that firsthand. I beat you, but you're still salty as hell about it.
No, I'm not salty because you won. I'm salty because I lost.
Is there a difference?
Yeah. I lost because I'm garbage. I've always been garbage. Even the tutorial thinks I'm garbage.
Okay, I'm confused. Why don't you go back to the beginning?
So, I don't even know where I first heard about Skullgirls, but I only saw good things spoken about it. Curious, I eventually found the TV tropes page for them, but the person who actually got me into the game itself was a pony named Septia. It was by their side that I first learned how to play. Unsurprisingly, the first thing I went for is the tutorial. I didn't want to miss something obvious, even though I thought it might be intuitive and easy to get into. And I was right, but I still dove right in. Sure enough, Skullgirls plays about as I expected. The controls are smooth, responsive and sensitive, and you can even enable an input monitor to see what you're doing. Awesome! Despite the vast and expansive scope of the tutorial, it's segmented into several chunks, so you can learn everything piece by piece. If there is something you can't get through, you can always skip it and return to it later. It's also very well paced, with a smooth progression from barely able to hit twice in a row to basic combos. It's good. It's really good. So naturally I skipped that one and discovered that each character has a tutorial section where you can figure out which of them does what. And if you need a quick refresher, you can always check out the move list from the menus. It's even divided into universal and character specific categories. Very useful in the story mode. Oh yeah, the story mode! Each character gets their own story, usually having to fight through the rest of the cast on their own, as the events of their life unfold. Between amnesiacs, skullgirls with carnivores, hair parasites... Ugh. What would being eaten by one would be like? Between that, circus acrobats, and the crazy little girl who weaponizes cartoon logic to the 20th degree, believe me, there's even weirder things out there like a dark dungeon crossover. And those aren't even the most ridiculous things I saw in the game. But there's also a few characters that stand out as unique by being decidedly normal. Namely, a princess commanding an army of gas mask-clad soldiers. One of her supers is even literally just carrying a sniper to take the shot. I'm actually quite fond of the variety in their design, but all of them being ladies presented a minor issue. Namely, having a little bit of difficulty telling their voices apart. It got especially bad in Pluto vs. Feeling animations, because the second one is basically a clone of the first. And even worse when you have the female announcer who sounds almost exactly like the girls.
Quiet on the set. Showtime!
Thankfully, the game has us covered.
There's different language settings for all the ladies, so I switched one of their voices to Japanese and it solved the problem. I was also able to pick my favorite announcer between the male, female, Japanese, drunk, and... What?!
Konnichiwa!
Let's go, Samson!
Oh yeah! The other one!
Kikimasu!
Gentlemen and ladies, it's time to fight! Second! Crush them! You're lucky!
This game just went from great to amazing! And hey, it was reason for it. I can sometimes beat a harder guy, and I beat all the main 8 campaigns. Yeah, I haven't been septic a few times, so I feel pretty good.
No, you're too kind.
But then, due to a broken controller, our time together had to end.
And then I come in?
Yes, this is where you come in. I only started playing Skullgirls again because you took interest in it. That reminds me, what do you think of it?
I suppose to start us off, I'd like to say that this game plays very smooth compared to other fighting games I've played, and games that have an arcadey type feel to them. The character designs are clean and unique, and their designs even funnel into their gameplay, such as Cerebello, a girl who has a hat that morphs into fists to help you in the fight by grabbing the opponent and sometimes even giving Cerebello with momentum to swing them into the wall. The gameplay itself is fairly simple, given how fighting games are. However, the amount of unique mechanics in the game is somewhat of a breath of fresh air, such as the mechanic to stop people from infinitely looping you in a combo, which in other fighting games can tilt someone very quickly.
What are you looking at?
This game is similar to an Arc System Works game like Dragon Ball FighterZ or Guilty Gear, but manages to differentiate itself from its competitors. The attack buttons are more similar to Street Fighter, with both kicks and punches being split up into light, medium and heavies. Also following Street Fighter are the special attacks, each gaining the player unique property depending on which weight of the punch or kick you used. For example, Valentine can dash with a saw blade to her opponent to slice them. If the player uses the attack with a light punch, it has less range and damage, but comes out faster. However, if the player uses heavy punch, the range is full screen and does more damage, but at the cost of Soul's startup and recovery time, leaving her vulnerable. I believe Skullgirls is a worthy series to get into, as it still has some great content coming to the game. A new character is coming out in 2021 in fact, and the game came out in 2012. Still being supported 9 years later is insane. Whereas most companies will just make a new game and make you pay full price. Looking at you, Mortal Kombat, and you just get rid of characters only to have them as DLC.
Whoa, not the time and place to explode on a round, my man. But you're right, Skullgirls is basically perfect. Well, it'll probably run on most machines with how old it is, and with how famously smooth its netcode is, you might also be able to play it anywhere.
I mean, we have some jittering from time to time, but that's better than most games these days that make it impossible to play. Speaking of which, did you want to play some Skullgirls, Mick?
No! I mean, sure. I was actually thinking about a match or two.
Grin sadistically.
Did you just pronounce an emote?
Yeah, well, I am on the phone. How else do you plan on knowing that I'm grinning sadistically?
There is much shame in
May
losing!
include nausea, headaches, and death.
Gentlemen and ladies, is a shot!
You get that phony thing?
This is the end! Are you crying? There's no crying in fighting games! Clap for sad
I'm not
loser!
crying. I'm not crying. I'm not
Player
crying.
1 is
I'm not
dead
crying.
fast!
I'm not
Player
crying.
1 is
I'm not
another
crying.
loser!
I'm not crying.
We're
I'm not
done.
crying. I'm not crying. I'm not crying.
My name is Mist, and I'm here to tell you all that if you decide to play Skullgirls, or any fighting game for that matter, just know that losing does not make you bad. It only means you're worse than the player you just faced. Also, he probably is a no-life who put like 20,000 hours into training so he can pull off that one combo that eats half of your life in his sleep. You're not garbage.
No cats were physically or mentally injured in the making of this video.